Hi, Dr. Annette here, and I want to take a few minutes to talk about stress, mood, anxiety, kind of a lot of things that we may or many of us experience a lot. And certainly the women in my practice, they might notice this increases as they get closer to their period. And so this is a little bit of a segue into what my next blog is going to be about, which is sort of the follow-up of mood, health, anxiety, the depression, all the things that sort of roll into one. I don't know, maybe we could call it just mental stressors and mood stressors, maybe make a little bit of a positive spin, but still recognizing it. The challenge that comes around in the fall, certainly as the day gets shorter, we have less sunlight, just like less sunlight is what causes the leaves to change colors and to fall off. This also can have an impact on our mental health. Not getting enough sun is a real thing. Seasonal affect disorder is a real thing. Sometimes they call it sundowners. So as soon as the sun goes down, they start to get more depressed. And I would say if you find yourself in this category, this could be a really good opportunity to, go on Amazon or the internet and get one of those UV lights, something that just adds some warmth and some light that wouldn't be very expensive. I know other people might do like an indoor sauna or what have you. Or if you have access to a gym, you could go to a sauna. But certainly if it's not too cold and the sun is out, I'm in the Midwest, so as the weather shifts, it gets a little bit colder, bundle up. Bundle up and just sit outside. It will do your brain, your mental health, and your body some good. So I think that's one thing to think about. The holidays can bring on a whole gamut of emotions depending on your personal life, your family life, your relationships, all those things. Maybe work. For some people, work gets crazier in the holidays. And being able to manage that, being able to balance that is, incredibly huge. Okay, first and foremost, if you heard me talking on the last few little videos, if you will, sugar. Just going to say it. Sugar is going to kick your butt. It's going to make mood, anxiety worse. And it will most definitely, if you are a female who's still having her period, it is going to make that worse as well. But certainly trying to minimize, that nasty little sugar thing, because it really does. You would be surprised at how much it affects your mood. Now, to me, the big one is going to come into, okay, well, what are some other proactive things I can do to manage stress? Getting enough sleep. Getting enough sleep is huge, and trying to get uninterrupted, but at the very least, get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Sacrificing sleep for any reason will never help you and will not help you recover, and it will only make, health matters worse in the long run. So sleep is an easy one. It doesn't cost anything to do. With that, you gotta try to tone down the swiping, the social media, not just the blue light. It's really is the social media. And actually, I found myself guilty of that. I found myself thinking, oh, this will just be really nice, before I go to bed. And I would catch myself, because I get sucked into the videos, right? I like watching the videos, the music videos. And before I know it, an hour's gone by. And not only that, I'm not actually feeling very tired. So I actually moved it off my home screen, took it completely off so I wouldn't get sucked into that, and have made a better effort to listen to there's like on one of my apps, it'll play like a nighttime story. It's only like 20 minutes. It's a very soothing voice. Usually I don't make it till the end, which is a good sign, right? Or put some music on with a timer. So I do think improving our sleep hygiene is really is not only is important, I just think it's critical. If you want to do like a hot tea, maybe like a sleepy time tea, there's also teas that have Ayurvedic herbs in it, just other, great herbs. Not everything's Ayurvedic, but also other herbs for stress, for balancing our cortisol, for helping us to feel more relaxed. Now, the trick is if you're going to go get these teas, first and foremost, it's got to be organic. We don't need chemicals. We don't need pesticides. We don't need heavy metals in there. The other trick that I learned is probably like most people, and I would be included in that category a while back, is not letting it steep long enough. We're like, again, in a hurry. So we're letting it steep for maybe 3 to 5 minutes, when reality is it needs to be 10 to 20 minutes. So you want really hot water, let it steep for a really long time. And that can be simple. Put it in a mug, the tea bag. I sometimes combine two, like one that was for stress and maybe one that was for sleep. put both of them together and put something on top of it. You don't have to have any fancy teacup brewing thing. You could just take a small saucer, put it on top. That is what will keep it in there, and that will help while it's steeping for a long period of time not to get really cool. Unless you want it cold, then you can always put it over ice. I think this is something that's really practical. Look for herbs such as skullcap, St. John's wort, ashwagandha, licorice, damiana. Any of these herbs that you might find in these teas can be really helpful. Valerian, California poppy are great for anxiety. They are great for sleep. A big one is also chaste tree, also known as Vitex. Chaste tree, besides increasing melatonin naturally, what it also does, it's a dopamine agonist. And the truth is, when we're under a lot of stress and prolonged stress, dopamine gets kind of squashed like a bug. And then what we seek out, this is when we start to seek out the affirmations we might find in social media that give us this little mental boost, or we look for carbs, or we look for wine or alcohol because we'll get that dopamine surge. But that kind of dopamine surge falls with a dopamine crash is going to follow. Whereas chaste tree is a great normalizer. So it will normalize dopamine. So if it's too low, it can bring it up, can help with sleep, can help with the anxiety. For some people, a water extracted kava, really clear on that one. It's got to be water extracted. I don't know of very many companies that do that except for MediHerb. MediHerb does do a water extracted kava. Kava is a great one for anxiety, to support sleep, to help with muscle tension and tightness. It can, some studies show that it can improve GABA, which is another neurotransmitter that helps us feel less anxious. These are some really good practical tips that you can start using. And I would say that, maybe you've tried this and it hasn't really helped that much. And you're like, okay, well, this is okay, but you're still on the struggle bus. Please reach out. If you have a local practitioner that you trust, great. If not, reach out to me at endocrinewellnessgroup.com. You can find me in Missouri. You can find me in Illinois. I promise you, there is definitely a way to do things that you can really be better, feel better, and live better.